I'm Santana. I'm from Frog Lake, Alberta, a small little res in Frog Lake. I didn't always grow up in the res. I was moved around a lot, like from different town to different town, so it wasn't just one place all the time. And then I guess toward high school, I decided to stay in Lloyd and finish my education there. For my first grade 10, I don't think. For my first year of grade 10, it was just, I guess, just work and just trying to meet new people. When I first came to Vancouver, it wasn't like a big dream of mine in the beginning. It was kind of just because I was bored and I wanted to do something and experience something other than just Lloyd. Because, I don't know, I felt like I was craving something, like adrenaline, if that makes sense, or just experience. And I thought, well, if Lex and Nish are going, I will do it. And I think at that time we're kind of just hitting off our bucket lists and our goals, and Vancouver just kind of became a big goal, even though it was together. And I think that's what pushed a lot of my, I guess, goals and what I want to do and experience. It's just it bounces off others' experiences and what they want to do. I think that's what I wanted to do with Vancouver, was just experience living out here. And my focus wasn't school when I came here. It wasn't a big goal for me to go for my education. It was kind of just what I needed to take in order to, I guess, be here. But I think as I went with school, there was how would I say it? I think the more I experience things, the more I develop more goals for what I want, if that makes sense. I tend to go with the flow a lot. I think before it was kind of just I let things come into my life, go with the flow, as in if I want to get somewhere, I'll just go with the flow, and whatever comes with it, I'll do it. But I think once moving out here, it was more make sure I have options for everything, because not everything's gonna work out and go my way. So I always want to have options, multiple options, to make sure I have something to fall back on. And then I'll just go with the flow, pick whatever option comes first, whatever is good for me. I feel I tend to get what I want. Eventually, it will eventually come to me. So I wouldn't say, I think it's the anticipation of waiting for what I ask for. I mean, with my religion, it's you pray to God, and anything you want. For me, my beliefs is if I pray to God and I really want something so bad, He'll give it to me, because my faith relies in Him, if that makes sense. So I feel if I continue with my faith and pray for the things I want, I'll get them. I think my faith journey began in grade 10, but I always knew of God. God was always there, because my mom, right, and my aunties, and I grew up with my Muslim, who was a pastor. I grew up with that religion, with Christianity, but I also am Indigenous, so it was kind of I also grew up in the culture. It's implemented that our culture wasn't good, some parts of the culture wasn't good, so I didn't practice most of it. But then when I got to the comp, I kind of started to embrace my culture more, because I did grow up on the res, but I just didn't practice traditional ways until I got to grade 10, where I was more embraced in my culture and having to mentor and teach about my culture through the blanket activity and all this. And then I met this man who came to the comp, and I forgot his name, and I still try to look for him this day. But he came to the comp, and he went to residential school, and he talked about his experience. But he said, in the end, I went to go ask him is how does he balance Christianity, because he was still Christian, but he also attended residential school, which kind of conflicted him to not want to follow Christianity in the beginning. And then I asked him, how does he balance his faiths? And he says, to always just have respect for both ways of life, basically. Like, you wouldn't bring a Bible to a sweat lodge. You wouldn't want to bring smudge to a church. It's just all about respect. And I think that's where I come with my religion or faith. It's just always having that respect for people and always having respect for my beliefs and always being open to new, faiths and religions. I think I show respect in a lot of ways. With college this year, I think you always have to have respect of knowledge and respect your surroundings. I think with our culture, respect has always been a big teaching, because I think just growing up and also just being, with Cree class and just growing up in my culture is just having that respect. And with my Muslim as well, being a pastor, he still attends cultural stuff. He'll attend a meeting and he'll smudge and he'll participate. And I think I learned a lot of respect from him, because he'll go sit in certain ceremonies even though he has his belief in God, or he'll sit and talk to someone who believes something different and he'll just listen to them, and he doesn't put his views on other people, but he will acknowledge his view and tell it, but he won't say, hey, this is one view you have to live by, or this is a way you have to be. And I think it just all stems from respect of people's views, people's space. I feel like I tend to grasp on new knowledge a lot. I don't have one initial point of view, because I'm still learning a lot. And I think the more I learn from people and meeting people, taking the classes I took this semester, and I guess just being engaged in stuff, that I'm able to just, how would I say it? Just learning new things and applying it to my knowledge and taking them and implementing them to my everyday views or lifestyle. Yeah. Every day I pray about the littlest things. If I'm just going for a walk, or I'll pray. Or if someone needs a prayer, I'll pray with them. Or if I just see someone on the bus, just a random person I feel like needs a prayer, I'll just pray in silence. Today, that old man on the bus, I just prayed for him for no reason, because he was just so sweet. And I just felt like he needed a silent prayer at that moment. I think that's where I think my faith is Christianity. But I don't want to claim it, the religion, if that makes sense. I would say I'm a believer of all things. Yeah, I don't have one specific religion. I wouldn't label myself as Christian or wouldn't label myself as Catholic, but I would label myself as a believer.
What are your thoughts on labels?
My thoughts on labels, I don't like labels. With psychology, I'm learning within psychology, labels stigmatize a person. From the very beginning, I think even with sexuality, I didn't ever want to label myself, because I feel like once you label something, you automatically, how do I say it, are prone to judgment. I feel like you're very prone to judgment, because why would you label something if you're going to accept it, right? What's the point of labeling something if you think that it's acceptable? I feel like people started labeling things because they were scared of what those things were. So it's just easier to label something, especially with psychology. People are scared of people with mental health issues. And for them, it's easier to identify, oh, that person's schizophrenic, right? And I think those labels stigmatize that person. And I think labels can also bring fear to whatever that is labeled. Yeah. My upbringing, I think it all stems from intergenerational trauma. Like that's where it all stems from. Like it's a genetic mark that's imprinted on me and all Indigenous people, I think. And with my mom, it was kind of hard growing up with my mom at first because she still had so many. I guess I didn't understand her traumas at first, and she was still dealing with those. And when dealing with those, she kind of had like a lot of like views, and she was fairly like strict. So that was kind of hard growing up. And I think it gave me a lot of anxiety and kind of like made me fearful. Like I was scared of everything growing up. Scared of death, like scared of God even. Like just scared of everything because my mom kind of imprinted that in me. And then I think it was with my education that really changed everything because I wanted something else than staying in the res. And I wanted something else than just like the most easiest work ever. Like the education wasn't there for me. And I wanted to move out here. And so she kind of was like, okay, I'll do this for you, but you have to finish. You know, it was like an ultimatum. If you don't do good, we're going back type thing. And I think that ultimatum kind of pushed me to, how would I say it? Pushed me to want to experience a lot of things. But my mom didn't heal when I was growing up, especially. So like she wasn't starting her healing journey, or she wasn't on it at the time of me growing up. It wasn't until I started my healing journey that she started hers. So it's kind of like having to be independent in my own feelings and like my own spirituality. I felt like I was alone half of the time, like growing up a lot. And then going to the I'm gonna cry. Yeah. I think when I have a lot of problem, I feel like I look back on friends a lot, or even my sisters a lot. But I feel like sometimes I'm more of a silent person. Like I battle my struggles or anything silently because I think that's what I have been doing since I was a kid. You know, just like always being silent in my thoughts. And I just learned to be independent and only rely on myself for a lot of things. And I think the advice I would give someone who is feeling isolated or alone in anything is kind of like, it's okay to be alone. Like, it's okay to feel at peace and be alone for that moment, because like I think that should be a part of someone's journey, is learning to be alone, because like you're not always going to be by people, you know. You're not going to always have to count on people or can count on people. I think once you find tranquility in being alone, I think you can just find comfort in it rather than feeling depressed about it. Places I feel at most peace alone is kind of just my everyday. Like I find like little ways to try be alone, or just go to, I don't know. I feel like just on the bus ride is a good peaceful alone time. And I find that when I'm alone most of the time, it's more of like being in nature. Like I really just like going somewhere and having my little mouse moments, especially, you know, with the cherry blossoms. I think I'm so obsessed with the cherry blossoms this year, and it's like my first time seeing them all ever. And like I only thought they existed in the movies. But I think my favorite thing definitely to go be alone and just with my thoughts. And self is just going to take pictures of the cherry blossoms anywhere. Or even just going downtown and like just observing people, or just checking out little places, or even going to the beach. Those are some places I like in Vancouver that are alone. I think that though when I was in Lloyd, it was harder to find those little places for myself to be alone, because I felt like I'm always around people, especially back home, especially with family. So it's harder to find those places. And I think that's one thing I wanted to do, was be independent alone. I feel like I succeeded all my goals this summer. From the beginning of Slipknot, I achieved everything I wanted, even though it kind of took so long to get here and the anticipation is so long. But I do feel like I achieved a lot. For those who don't know about Slipknot, they need to go. It was my first concert. Not like first concert, but I would qualify it as my first concert. And it was a blast. I loved it. I think I lost myself in the moments. I just lost myself in the moments. It's just so hard to tell what I experienced. Only my body and my mind can remember the experience, if that makes sense. I think all music should be like that, not just one thing. I think that's where it stemmed. All the experiences that I felt from Slipknot is what I wanted to apply to my whole life. Like just that one moment and that one feeling I felt when going to Slipknot is what I wanted to apply to, I guess, my whole life. Like I didn't want to just feel that way one time. I wanted to feel it multiple times for different things, not just music. Yeah. I feel like if you go to a Slipknot concert, you'll experience that. If I had any advice to give someone, it would be to do what you want and live in the moment, and not to overthink about the possible bad outcomes of what could come with your decisions. And I also think just it's okay to feel what you're feeling. Like it's okay to be depressed for the day and want to stay in bed and not get out. And it's okay to be aware of your feelings. And it's okay to be alone, because sometimes peace is boring. Like peace can be so boring. And what else? Yeah, I think it's just okay to be alone, because that's how you find yourself, and you're aware of who you are, and you're able to be who you want to be when you're alone. And that's like how you basically, I guess, find who you are and who you're meant to be. Believe in something, to have faith in something, whether it is based on your culture or religion. I think it's just always good to believe in something higher, or to have spirituality based in your life. Being away from my sisters is, I think at first it was hard, but I think my mentality right now is focusing on myself. Like right now I'm putting myself before everyone, because I don't do that. And I think my mentality of wanting to work on myself and heal myself, that I kind of put them in the back of my mind, but not because not for a reason where I'm trying to neglect them or neglect that. It's kind of just like, I think missing them and being away from them doesn't affect me, because I'm working on myself and I'm doing what I want, and it's only for a short time. So I don't think it's such a burden for me to be away from my family. No, I don't know. Just experience it. Live your life to the fullest. Do what you want. Don't give a fuck about anyone else, honestly. Like, you're your own person. And I think that's what most people need to start thinking about. Like, yes, have respect for people, and yes, have compassion for people, and always be genuine. But I think you also have to work on yourself in order to, I guess, love someone else too, right? How are you going to give people all these things, such as compassion, love, or anything, if you can't do it to yourself? Yeah, that's the last thing I wanted to say. You're doing this. Oh.
Do you want me to do it again?